Hey, it's David Bergman with Adorama TV. So I'm here at a secret undisclosed location and I got my hands on the brand new Canon EOS-1DX Mark II. This is an upgrade from the 1DX, and here's the thing. Why do you need a camera like this? I remember years ago shooting film, right? Remember film, that stuff with like emulsion on it? Back then we had 36 frames on a roll. It seemed like a lot of frames at the time, but I remember shooting a football game and on the kick return, the guy ran the ball back 100 yards and I ran out of frames at about the 50-yard line. These days, we have cameras with incredible buffers on them. The 1DX Mark II has a ridiculous buffer. If you're shooting JPEGs only, it is basically unlimited. So you can shoot forever and ever, as long as you have a big enough card, without running out of space. The good thing is, even with RAW files, you get 170 RAW files. So for me, that's life-changing. That's about 11 seconds, 12 seconds. It shoots 14 frames a second. So I can now get images I might have missed before. So earlier today, I took the camera over to John Jay College and put it through its paces. I didn't have a whole lot of time with it, but I was able to play around with it. Let me tell you, the autofocus system feels like it's a bit faster, and pretty much every frame was tack sharp, which as a sports photographer, that's exactly what you want. I'm really happy that Canon finally made all of the autofocus sensors red, so you can see wherever they are. As I move the focus points around, I could actually see them even in a high contrast situation. Something else that comes in handy for me every once in a while is with certain lenses and the new version 3 converter, even when I shoot at f8, I can use all 61 focus points. If you remember the 1DX and a lot of the cameras at f8, you could only use the center focus point. Well now, I don't know how they've done it, but I can use all 61 points even at f8 with certain lenses like the 100-400 and the version 3 teleconverter. So the ISO range is still the same as the 1DX, but quality-wise, I noticed it's about a stop better. So in this case, I was able to shoot with the 100-400 zoom lens, which is much lighter and easier to handhold than the 200-400. The 100-400 wide open is 5.6, and the 200-400 is f4. So I was able to get an entire extra stop of light, keep my shutter speed high, but still shoot at 5.6 with the easier lens to handhold. So the bad news is there's a new card format. I know the camera companies, they drive us crazy with these new card formats all the time, but the reason they do it is because it is so much faster than the old cards. This camera has 2 slots in it. It takes a CF in slot 1 and a CFast 2 in slot 2. Of course, they flip opposite directions, so it's going to be confusing, but we'll figure it out. This CFast 2 card is really fast. So shooting RAW files, we used to get about 30-something frames before you hit the buffer. Now, with a CF card, a regular CF card gets 72 frames or 73 frames, depending, and with a CFast 2, you get 170 frames. That is insane. I don't think I'm ever going to hit that buffer. Something else that drives me a little crazy is batteries. Every camera tends to have a new battery. This one does as well, but I get 10% more power out of it, which is great, and it really is the only way that you can get the full 14 frames a second out of this camera. The good news is the new charger will charge the old batteries. You can also use the old batteries in this camera, granted at a little bit of a slower frame rate, but still pretty darn fast. I was also able to play around a little bit with video. I don't shoot a lot of video. I'm primarily a still photographer, but once in a while, it's called upon for an assignment, and I'm happy to do it because it's built into the camera. Here's the thing, here's the big headline. 4K, 60 frames a second. That's insane. That's an incredible amount of data going through these cards. Let me say it again, 4K, 60 frames a second. Oh yeah, full HD, 120 frames a second. That is ridiculous, awesome slow motion in a DSLR, accessible to everyone. That's crazy. It's not always the most flattering when you shoot somebody that slow, but it's the most awesome look, and now you can get it in the DSLR. So I've had a great time shooting with this today. Big thanks to Canon and Adorama for making this happen. I have to return this now, but okay.